this is what he's doing. He's aura farming, okay? I said, not gonna lie, he's moving like a man who knows there won't be elections anymore. He's just, he's moving not like a real G, silent like lasagna, okay? He's moving around loud. He's moving around bigly. He's moving around in ways where he's like, yup, don't care. What are you going to do about it?
The trigger to make changes like that. JP Morgan upping its recession odds to 60% from 40% previously, citing obviously the tariffs, the effect on business sentiment, the effect on investment.
Is this good?
And the effect on...
I'm not a finance guy. Is that good? Hey, guys, I'm not... Hey, guys. Can someone explain to me if this is good or not? I don't really understand this stuff. Oh, my God. We're so fucked.
Consumer price. They said, quote, these policies, if sustained, would likely push the U.S. and possibly global economy into recession this year. And if I could shift gears, Melissa, we just got an email from, or a study from the Cato Institute. What they did is they looked at the tariffs that the White House says countries charged us versus the actual tariffs they charge. Take a look. Vietnam, they said that President Trump said it's 90%. It's actually 5.1% for an 85% difference. We'll go down the list. Taiwan, Switzerland, which is known to not charge almost any tariffs at all. 61% the White House said. It's actually 1.7.
Dude, this is so funny. It's just like, this is pure stupidity. And they can get away with this because people are dumb. That's it. And by the way, Vietnam's charging 5.1% tariffs. They said they would lower to 0. It don't matter because the White House tariff rate has nothing to do with the actual tariffs being freaking charged by the country and everything to do with trade deficits. As in, they want significantly poorer countries. Okay. On its face, I'm going to repeat this one more time. Trump wants to use tariffs as a mechanism to punish countries for the trade deficits. As in, he wants significantly poorer nations to purchase American goods at reasonable levels that where there's like some sort of trade parity, except American goods are more costly. And on top of that, we don't even have the manufacturing base to produce the necessary demand. So it literally doesn't make sense at any point of this conversation because, one, American goods, if produced here and then shipped overseas to like Vietnam, are going to be significantly more expensive than shit that they produce domestically. Okay? Two, we don't even have the industrial base to become the manufacturing hub of the planet, let alone overnight. We certainly don't. And last but not least, the shit that we produce here does not even suit the demand of their markets. The greatest example of this are fucking cars, okay? The greatest example of this is vehicles. We literally do not produce vehicles that these guys could even use on their roads. These guys could even use on their fucking crowded city streets. Like, in order for this to work, Europe would have to change the commercial driver's license necessity that you need for to be able to drive the basic model of the most popular vehicle in the United States of America, a Ford F-150. The RAV4, the Toyota RAV4 actually beat the F-150 in the most sold car, most popular car in America last year. But outside of that, year over year, the Ford F-150 pickup truck that has become ginormous, okay, in because of the CAFE standards, to avoid the CAFE standards, that car is the most popular car in the United States of America. That's the car that we produce the most, okay? In order for Europeans to be able to drive this car, they would need to change the driver's license restrictions. You need a CDL to be able to drive a fucking Ford F-150. You would also need to change the way that these cities work, because there is significantly less car reliance to begin with in many European capitals. where a lot of the people live because they have public transit. And on top of that, it just simply wouldn't fit on the fucking roads. So what is the argument here? Sorry, we're going to tariff you. We're going to tariff you until you're dead. You have to buy our F-150. The child mutilator must be every European suburb. You have to build suburbs now. You have to repave your roads and drive our monstrosities. Also, gas. That's the other thing. Gas is so fucking expensive in Europe. That's another part of the process. Like, you need to drive our gas guzzlers. Vietnam has a trade deficit of $110 billion and a population of 110 million in a country where with the per capita GDP is $4,000. A quarter of that would need to be American purchases of balanced deficit in a year. Yeah, they're just going to buy like, what are they going to buy? What do we even build? That's the other part of the story. It's just like, what can they buy? Weapons? What do we build in the United States of America? We build software, tech services, and we build weapons, and we build cars. What are they supposed to buy? A fucking fighter jet? Like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Harley Davidsons? Everyone has to drive Harley Davidsons, which is the gas guzzling giant of the motorcycle world. Everything we buy, everything we build is a gas guzzler in comparison to the relative sector and the domestic manufactured competitor. You must buy it. Everything is Tesla. Anyway, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. It is indecipherable, and it is so perfectly Donald Trump. And considering that we have no sway in the way that things happen in the United States of America, the least we could do is kick back and enjoy the fucking show and watch these dumb hogs who were like, Donald Trump is going to save the world, turn around and talk about how you don't need goods anyway. We need to do degrowth. What are you, a gay commie? You want to purchase commodities at a reasonable, affordable price point? What is wrong with you? I feel like I'm losing my freaking mind.
Indonesia, where we get a lot of garments from, they're at 5.3. The White House says they're at 64. And very importantly, the European Union. Remember when the president said there was 39? And then we go down the list. These are important trading partners. Now, of course, there are some non-tariff trade barriers that are difficult to quantify, but the White House basically being accused by people of using a formula that no one has ever used to come up with these tariff rates and then say, oh, we were kind to them and we did half. Melissa?
One of the funniest aspects of this, of course, is that predictably, Donald Trump is going to do this thing that he's always done. He did it in the first term. He did it in the he has done it multiple times so far in the second term as well, where he breaks something and then everybody freaks the fuck out. You wipe out trillions of dollars of fucking value in the stock market, and then he turns around and the other side, the foreign nations, actually give him assurances that make it seem like they're complying with these ridiculous demands that he's making. So then he restores the order and goes, see, I fixed it. It's like, you broke it. You didn't have to break it. You didn't have to break it at all. The classic. So we'll probably see a little bit of that in the upcoming days, even though this administration now is seemingly resilient to any of the naysayers that keep saying, please, Mr. President, you're killing us. Yeah. Countries, Claudia Sheinbaum does this very well in Mexico, will just be like, oh, yeah, you've really put the fear of God in our hearts. We are going to combat the fentanyl crisis in our borders. And they don't even do anything new. Like, they have already been combating the fentanyl crisis, and they just basically go, see, we did it. You did it. You did it, sir. You forced our hand. And then Trump goes back and goes, see, major W, no more tariffs on Mexico. That's it. Nothing changed in the process except for a period of instability born out of Donald Trump's stupid fucking mouth. Nothing changed at all. Everybody has to act like the glorious president is doing stuff virtually all of the other countries are held hostage by this madman. And it's so funny where they just have to be like, yes, Mr. President, you scared us so hard. You put the fear of God in our hearts, and we are complying. Like, Vietnam goes from 5% tariffs to 0% tariffs, and Trump's like, major victory. Major victory. Okay, so it's not about the trade deficit then. So it's not even for the reasons that you have, the hidden reasons that you wanted to do this. What is it for then? Nothing.
True Social. He just had a very productive call with
Stronger than expected new jobs
Come on, Jerome. Come on, Jerome. Do it.
report just out this morning. Also affecting the markets this morning, retaliation from China. Beijing announced it's responding to the White House's sweeping tariffs with 34% new tariffs of its own against the United States. Let's go live right now to New York and CNN business and politics correspondent Vanessa Yurkevich, who's standing by. Vanessa, you're watching all of this. Break it down for us. First of all, start with the jobs report that came out this morning.
Yeah, well, this jobs report, better than expected jobs report, may have softened the opening on Wall Street just a little bit. But look at stocks right now. Look at where markets are really tumbling this morning as investors are pricing in really the worst case scenario, a trade war escalation. They are looking for some sense that the administration is willing to negotiate with countries. That does not seem to be the case. Investors telling me that their trust has been just completely eroded as this trade war escalates. As you mentioned,
5 hours, 800,000 views, dude. Media's cooking.
though, a bright spot, the jobs report, better than expected numbers in March. Hiring picked up 228,000. That's more than 100,000, or about 100,000 more than expected. And the
5 minutes until the markets close. I don't know anything about the economy. Red is good, right? It's good that the S&P 500 is down 6%. Dow 30 down 5.5. NASDAQ down almost 6% as well. Yeah, in Chinese culture, red is a lucky color. Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything. I'm just going off feelings right now, and it feels like red is a good feeling. Red is a good color, I think, for the stock market.
unemployment rate ticking up to about 4.2%, just slightly from 4.1%. But really, as investors are telling me, this is ancient news at this point. This is looking backwards in March. Really, everything changed on April 2nd when President Trump announced these universal tariffs, and Wall Street was waiting for retaliation from major trading partners. And we heard from China just this morning a 34% tariff on all U.S. exports going into China. That's about 143.
Now, the thing with that, I guess like the only thing there is that, ironically enough, Donald Trump wants to make up for the trade deficit, let's say, if that is his true purpose here, because I don't even know what he's fucking doing or why he's doing it. But let's say he wants these countries to purchase more American goods, right? Even though I don't even know what we would sell them. We buy a lot more from China than they buy from us. So when they actually slap tariffs like this, it's not as impactful as it's supposed to be for China, right? So, I mean, it will still hurt, make no mistake, but it's not that. I guess that's what Donald Trump is trying to do here. I guess that's what he's gonna fix it with. Trump posted this TikTok video that he says are his plans. American Papa Bear.
Trump is crashing the stock market by 20% this month.
Trump is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. American Papa Bear. Trump truthed American Papa Bear a Twitter link implying this is his goal.
Month, but he's doing it on purpose. And this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. Now, here's the secret game he's playing, and it could make you rich. So why is he doing this? To push cash into treasuries, which forces the Fed to slash interest rates in May, and those lower rates give the Fed the ability to refinance trillions of debt very inexpensively. It also weakens the dollar and drops mortgage rates. Now, it's a wild chess move, but it's working. Now, you're probably wondering, what about his tariffs? Well, I'll tell you, it's a genius play. It actually forces companies to build here to dodge them. It also forces farmers to sell more of their products here in the U.S. to bring grocery prices way down. We've already seen this with eggs. Now, remember,
Trump is the president. He knows that's not what happened with eggs. His administration's decisions are the opposite of what this guy is suggesting. Why is he publishing this as though it's real and correct? He knows better. No, we went to the global market to make up for the supply shock on eggs as a consequence of the avian flu. What? That's not, what is he saying? I mean, this is just, this right here destroys the rest of the rest of the speculation.
Remember, 94% of all stocks are owned only by 8% of Americans. So Trump, he's taking from the rich short term and handing it to the middle class through lower prices.
You don't understand, brother. Just because I'm going to lose my job and house and I'm probably going to have to pimp my wife and daughter doesn't mean Trump is making a mistake. You're wrong, libtard. Yeah, this doesn't, I mean, maybe the first half of it, but I feel like there's better ways of doing it without destroying. I mean, dude, I think about it like if Brandon did something like this, Trump would be calling for his head. You know what I mean? Like every day. They'd be doing a January 6th times 11 every single day. They'd be putting up guillotines outside of the Capitol. Okay? What are we talking about here? This is so weird. There's also better sources than TikTok. Buffett denies social media rumors after Trump shares wild claim that investors back president crashing the market. Not that I want to defend him, but wait, you don't want to defend Warren Buffett? Is that what you're saying? Or you don't want to defend, because wait, so this TikTok guy was wrong? Warren Buffett didn't say that? The video's narrator then falsely states, and this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. The president shared a link to an expose from the account America Papa Bear, self-described Trumper to the end. The expose itself appears to be a repost of a weeks-old TikTok video from the user WNNSA11. The video has been shared more than 2,000 times on True Social. Buffett, 94, didn't single out any specific post, but his conglomerate Berkshire Hathaway outright rejected all comments claimed to be made by him. There are reports currently circulating on social media, including Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok, regarding comments allegedly made by Warren E. Buffett. All such reports are false, the company said in a statement on Friday. CNBC's Becky Quick spoke to Buffett Friday about this statement, and he said he wanted to knock down misinformation in an age where false rumors, oh my God, blip. Dow drops 2,200 points Friday. S&P loses 10% in 2 days as Trump's tariff market rout deepens. It's awesome that the president of the United States of America is signing off on a random TikTok that a random Trump supporter on Twitter recycled. And he's like, yep, that's right. This is my secret agenda. And it's not. And it's filled to the brim with misinformation. No, you see, this is 5D chess plays happening, okay? Trump is expertly crashing the economy. It's actually good. It's actually good that the economy is crashing. Monday's about to be a freaking bloodbath. Breaking, the S&P 500 ends the week down 9.1 and is largest weekly drop since March 2020, erasing $4 trillion in market cap. Today marked the S&P 500 and NASDAQ's worst day since March 2020. Amazing. Amazing.
$1 billion worth of goods every single year. Things like chemicals, computers, agriculture.
Is this chatter joking? We got to hold some space for Cory Booker. Why the fuck are progressives allergic to radical ideas? We need to rally behind him ASAP. He's the only one standing between us and fascism. Hashtag resist. Hashtag Booker 2028. Cory Booker for president. Hashtag resist. Cory Booker is my favorite socialist. Any libs? The way he isn't scared to wear the yellow Israel pin is so brave. Hashtag resist. Cory Booker better. Cory Booker is single-handedly saving USPS and free speech. If you don't support Cory Booker, you're racist. Hashtag resist. Cory Cory Booker filibuster made me cry. Brave, brave man. Cory Booker protests for 25 hours. Hashtag resist. Hashtag lead by example. Hashtag anti-racist. Y'all are racist. Hashtag Cory Booker 2028. This guy's awesome. Chatter, you're funny. You're funny. Cory isn't scared to stand by Israel with his pin. Brave. Nobody else is doing this. Dude, oh my God. Fucking awesome. At least people get funnier when in periods of economic volatility, economic instability, people do have a tendency to get funnier. So there's that. Maybe content will be better overall.
Culture products, which I will note already have previous tariffs on them from 2018 during President Trump's first term, and also retaliatory tariffs that went into place in
chat being funny is a recession indicator. Also, constantly saying random things are recession indicators are unironically a recession indicator.
March. So an escalation on that front. You also see there that's going to impact transportation and oil and gas coming out of the United States. But worth noting, though, that we, the U.S., get a lot more from China than we send them. We get about $438 billion worth of goods every single year. And that now also, because of what President Trump put in place, has a 34% tariff on those goods. Economists agree, Wolf, that those prices, those increase in prices, will likely get passed down to us, the U.S. consumer.
What if the libs are right and Trump is actually a Russian agent trying to have Russo-American solidarity by collapsing the U.S. like the Soviet Union? Yeah, this is Russia's revenge. Yeah, Krasnov, Agent Krasnov, code word Krasnov, has activated shock doctrine, capitalist shock doctrine in American empire. Suka blyat. America will see what destabilization looks like. We are finally doing it. Moskova sends its regards, comrade.
As we prepare to chat about what the markets are doing, Donald Trump is actually on social media calling out China and saying that they played it wrong, quote, and that they panicked in response to his tariffs. But, you know, all of this obviously evident in the...
This tweet is funny. Oh, that's funny. Pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 in the U.S. will not start April 9th in order to assess the potential impact on tariffs and the evolving market conditions. $399, $659.99. Oh man. In typical American fashion, we've outdone the USSR again, collapsing in an even stupider and dramatic way. It's only fair for the US to do this after the USSR do it after the USSR did the same thing. Bro, I'm a Slav. Your accent, where is it? Oh, it is pretty awesome. It is pretty funny. I must admit that while all of this global collapse is happening, Trump is out fucking golfing. He just doesn't even care about the aesthetics anymore. He doesn't even care to make it seem like he gives a shit about anything. He is so in his nonchalant era that he doesn't even care about the optics anymore. He's like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? It's the equivalent of walking around to the White House in a fucking bathrobe with your dick hanging out, you know? Yeah, he's like, yeah, collapse the global economy. Now I'm golfing. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, I hate my followers. I hate all the people that voted for me. I hope you all eat shit and die. Believe it.
Global stock markets, which have tanked since that China announcement just a couple of hours ago.
And I think the message we just had from the President of the United States just goes to show there is a lot of ego involved, and you do question how far tit for tat goes. Looking at global markets, let's have a check-in. Dow Jones is down, I think it was 1,100 points so far today. It was down 1,600 yesterday. And we're seeing the steepest losses in stocks like Apple, Qualcomm, Tesla, Caterpillar, Nvidia. These are companies with big exposure to China. So you're starting to see some real pain for big American companies. And of course, that will impact portfolios for all sorts of investors and consumers, your average person in the United States. So we have the pain there. We're having steep losses in Europe as well. No retaliation from Europe yet. We're expecting to see more retaliation from other nations next week once all of this has been processed. But, you know, we saw Xetra DAX down around 4% before I came on air, FTSE 100, similar sort of levels, and the CAC. And that follows on from steep losses in Asia. So really another day of absolutely steep losses across the board.
And I think at times like these, when many are wondering what qualifies as a stock market crash, and are we getting anywhere close to that?
I was having this conversation with my team. When is it a plunge? When is it?
What is a stock market crash to begin with? You know, what is it really? Also a recession indicator.
A tank, and when is it a crash? You'll be thrilled to know we're nowhere near a crash yet. We have been tiptoeing towards tank in some markets, for instance, the Xetra DAX and the FTSE MIB in Italy, which is down more than 5%. We're not at a crash yet. But you have to consider the losses we've also had.
Yeah, what's Donald Trump doing right now? This is what he's doing. He's aura farming, okay? I said, not gonna lie, he's moving like a man who knows there won't be elections anymore. He's moving not like a real G, silent like lasagna, okay? He's moving around loud. He's moving around bigly. He's moving around in ways where he's like, yup, don't care. What are you gonna do about it?
The economists here to dissect.
He is moving like Erdogan. Erdogan, sorry. Erdogan, also known as Erdogan, okay? He is. He's Turkifying America at a rapid clip, dude. It is uncomfortable to watch. It's fucked up.
This
The
CNN
assassin
analyst
is going to be wearing this.
is in New York, and economics professor Harjun Chang joins us from London. Great to see you both. Rana, I want to go to you first because we were talking about Donald.
Guys, I want to point out something that maybe some of you might have missed here in all of this chaos. We're only 3 months in. Okay? This is month 3 of Burger Reich. Month 3. It's fucking insane.
Donald Trump being on social media there. Well, he's also been mentioning a couple of other things that I want to raise. He's been saying in the past now that his policies will never change and that this is a great time to get rich, richer than ever before. What do you make of those comments in this moment of chaos?
You know, there's 2 ways to look at this. The first way, and the scarier way, frankly, is that he's just shooting from the hip. There really is no global strategy here. And this is Donald Trump and his ego, as we've just spoken about. And I think that you can make a strong case about that. He doesn't, you know, assuming there's no coup in the U.S., he doesn't have a chance to get reelected. And so he may be less concerned about global markets this time around and U.S. stock markets than he was before. It may be about power and ego. The other case, the more sort of...
It's so funny trying to read the tea leaves here because it's like, it's incomprehensible. It's incomprehensible in many different directions because, like, it's coming from the right party. It's coming from the Republican Party. So it makes it even crazier. It's coming from a billionaire who has always maintained corporate profits above anything else. Part of the reason why the wealthy backed him, right? And it's not only chaotic, it is for no discernible purpose. And even on top of that, the fact that it's happening, the fact that it is these decisions are being made by the right-wing reactionary administration that is supposed to hail stock market gains as like the ultimate North Star makes this even dumber. There's no, I don't know. I can only try to understand why Donald Trump is doing the things that he's doing. But I think anyone that tells you with 100% certainty why he's doing this shit is lying to you, okay?
There is a strategy here, Case, is that he really feels, and I know many on his team.
Like, ultimately, there's a couple top line agenda items for the Trump administration that he carried over from the first administration, from the first term as well. And that is, no matter what happens, like, these guys are massive China hawks. and this has been the American foreign policy since Obama, right? And Democrats have a different method of dealing with China. I think like Democrats want to do free trade around China and basically carve out, special economic zones in the Indo-Pacific region. You got the Trans-Pacific Partnership, things of that nature. Donald Trump has a different approach, but ultimately the direction is against China. They see China growing, they see China rising, and they want to combat it. They want to decouple our over-reliance from China being the manufacturing hub of the planet. And I think that hasn't really changed. Like Obama did this, Trump did this the first term, Joe Biden continued it, and now Trump is doing it again. There are some differences in the methods, of course. That much is clear, because I don't think that like any Democratic administration would behave this way, or even other Republican administrations, I don't think would behave this way either, in a way that like shocks the stock market in this spectacular of a fashion. But the goals are still the same. That is the number one top line approach here. That I am certain on. We want to decouple from China. We want to, no matter how painful it is, as a matter of national security, we want to no longer have this over-reliance on Chinese manufacturing. That is one thing that I can at least point to. Outside of that, like the notion of fixing trade deficits and forcing the rest of the country, rest of the planet to like purchase American goods that we haven't even fucking manufactured yet, or the fact that we have no way of even manufacturing right now, that part is really stupid. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Team feel that the global trading system has needed an overhaul for some time. He wants to move overall tariff rates that the U.S. puts on other countries versus what they put on us closer together. Of course, that's now all been thrown up because we're in a complete trade war. I don't think these numbers are going to last. I do think that there's going to be some horse trading, and there already is some horse trading behind the scenes. But it is what I can say is that I think there's now a very good chance of recession, in part because trust has been obliterated. I also think we're in unprecedented territory. This is the biggest shift potentially to the global economic system that we've seen in half a century.
Yeah, and on that point, Tajin, that Rana was talking about, I mean, even if markets do recover a little bit, we do see these moves to negotiate. How irreparable is the damage that has been wreaked on economies globally at this stage?
Yes, last few days I've been trying to figure out whether there's some method in madness. I concluded that the method is wishful thinking, because what is going on is that Mr. Trump thinks if he puts a tariff wall, foreign companies will first of all come and invest. They are not really going to do that on any significant scale, because the U.S. industrial base has been run down for the last 4 decades, and you cannot rebuild it in a few years. Moreover, if they actually come in a major way, there'll be no tariff. Yeah? So he cannot have his cake and eat it. As for American companies, they are not going to.
This is my favorite, this is completely irrelevant to the point he's making, but my favorite thing that I've seen from like Korean and Chinese English speakers is the at the end of the question, and I want to put that in the way that I speak as well. I want to find a way to also speak like that, where you go at the end of every statement. You go or I think it's so cool. Fucking China, boo. You will never be Chinese. I'm literally white Chinese. Shut up, dude. Shut up. Don't make me sing Red Sun in the Sky again in perfect Mandarin. White Chinese sings Red Sun in the Sky in perfect Mandarin, shocks the world, okay? I do also say that. I already do that. I say, okay. But I should go, I say, okay, or you understand? But instead, I want to switch it to, yeah, after I'm done with every statement, I want to go with a, That's right. The one true Asian. This Hassan guy is not only a top sheet says, this Hassan guy is not only a fake socialist, but a racist xenophobe as well. It's going to be real funny. It's going to be real funny when I actually visit China and this dude is not from Iowa, but instead actually Chinese. And he fucking assassinates me when I'm in Beijing or something. Like he's just going to come up to me and be like, I'm top G and you fucked up. I was being entirely sincere. This wasn't a long bit that I was doing in your chat. I actually despise you. I do truly believe that you are racist and xenophobic. Billy, comment sections are praising your knowledge of China. Let's fucking go. It's happening. Oh, my dream. My dream, dude. It's becoming a reality.
To invest on any large scale because, the American financial system in the last few decades have become really parasitic and has been working as a mechanism to suck out the profit from corporations. So in the last 25 years, 90 to 95% of corporate profits have been given to the shareholders in the form of excessively high dividends and stock buybacks. And American companies do not have money to invest. So unless he does something about the financial system as well, all this extra profit generated for American companies by tariffs will be just leaking out of the system. So I'm afraid that it's all based on wishful thinking. And most critically, in the last couple of days, the United States has basically given up on being a country based on the rule of law. South Korea, my native country, signed a free trade agreement with the United States about 15, 20 years ago. And now that we are getting 25% tariff. So now who's going to take American commitment seriously?
Yeah, in many ways, it's a realignment of world order that's happening here, Rana. And it was interesting to see China's vice commerce minister come out earlier and say he wants to work with the EU to oppose protectionism, unilateral bullying. I mean, how expansive are the moves we're going to see here for realignment globally among trading blocs?
Huge. It's going to be huge. And it really is an
Guy writes incredible econ books that are very accessible and Marxist. Wait, what the fuck? I went on a date with a woman on the left? No, you didn't. What is happening today? Why is everyone 1 degree removed from CNN today in my chat? What's fucking going on? Some of you guys have hooked up with the anchors. Others have cousins that are apparently CNN producers. What is going on? Why is everybody lying? And also, why are you lying in this direction? Like what? You don't even get clout for saying that you're related to CNN in some degree.
Opportunity for China. It's kind of, in some ways, it's China's game to lose now. And
yeah.
These children want to work.
Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. He goes,
These people want to employ them. What is your problem? It's not like that these people kidnap these children, use them as slave labor. Yes. So actually, in the 19th century, a lot of respectable people were in favor of child labor. Today, I do not know any person who says we need to bring back child labor to make America a truly free market economy.
Excuse me, they are doing that, by the way. So Ha Jun Chang is wrong. America is literally doing that. They are doing that, and it is a move that was spearheaded by Sarah Huckabee Sanders, okay, initially, and is now being implemented in places like Florida as well. So that is actually happening. The market is being liberated, all right?
But that change in position came about because of political change, changes in our ethical standard, not because someone invented an economic theory showing that we shouldn't have child labor. And so the very boundary of market is politically determined. 200 years ago, you could buy and sell people, buy and sell children's labor services, narcotic drugs, and what have you. Today, you can't. And these changes have come about because of political and ethical changes. So when the very boundary of the subject is politically determined, you cannot say that we can get rid of politics. These children want to work. These people want to employ them. What is your problem? It's not like these people kidnap these children, use them as slave labor.
I think it's very cool when he says, huh? At the end of his statements. I'm not even joking.
And it'll be very interesting to see how Xi Jinping and how Beijing plays this. I would be a little bit skeptical about whether you're going to see some kind of complete new alliance between China and Europe, because what's going to happen now is that a lot of cheap Chinese goods are going to flood into Europe because they can no longer flood into the US. And are the Europeans going to like that? No, they're not. So this is where you start to get into that cascading sense of, oh boy, we really are in a global trade war here. Now, if the Chinese were to suddenly say, you know what, we're going to acknowledge that we've been dumping cheap steel, cheap EVs, cheap solar panels onto the world, and guess what, Europe, we are going to cut a new and more productive paradigm with you. Well, that would be very interesting. And
dude, the European Union is so cooked. They're the most cooked here, okay? I don't see anything positive in the future of Europe unless they're like, we're gonna open up new markets. Like we're closely re-examining a world where we are not attached to the hip to the United States of America because it's a dangerous and unstable empire that is now attacking its own vassal state structure here in the European Union, and therefore it's China's time to shine. Without that, which probably will never happen because I think the Orientalist framework will stop them from behaving in this way. Without that, they're cooked. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And they just only become poorer and poorer. And in that, and in the process of that volatility, that economic instability is already causing right-wing fascist movements to grow at an alarming rate. Like they are genuinely galvanized. How can you be so monstrous? What are you doing? What are you spamming? What are you fucking spamming? Why are you spamming? How can you be so monstrous as a YouTube short? Calm down.
Right now, the Dow future is down sharply as global markets take a big hit in response to President Trump's tariffs announcements.
I honestly don't understand how Europe can even be remotely as fucked as the U.S. because Europe has already been suffering before this kind of stuff, before these kinds of moves to begin with.
Just moments ago, China announced plans to implement 34% retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods starting April.